fun? So, we have someone else coming out. He is by far the worst magician I've ever seen. The most unfortunate looking individual I've ever seen. And by far, my least favorite YouTuber of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Adam Robertson! There are microphones up here, but there are zero in the crowd. No, that's not why you gotta go. That's why you gotta keep it on the down low. Alright, thank you. Thank you for your cooperation. So, my dad texted me and told me that he wanted a picture of all the people I was hanging out with. So, if you don't mind. All right. Say cheese. Cheese. Okay, somebody point. Yo, remember what I said about the microphones? That's still in effect. That sounds being done. Well, that's true. I'm really sorry if I just seem like I'm in a bad mood all the time, but I can still hear Barbasol in my ears. And also, the ASPCA came to my house earlier today and took away my Neopets. It's not surprising because I hadn't fed them in 11 years. And they were all starving. But tomorrow they're coming back for my Tamagotchis, which are in a similar state, but they're letting me keep the Furbies. So at least I have that. Furbies and goldfish are similar because the only people who got them were people whose parents didn't like them. Goldfish are especially interesting because you can buy a goldfish for a dime. That's how much value we put on that life. You can walk into a pet store and have the conversation with yourself. Well, do I want complete and total control over a living creature, or do I want a Jolly Rancher? Excuse me, this is not my set list, but I get nervous on stage, and this is just a list of really soothing facts. This one says, Dick Cheney is no longer in a position of power. Very good. You guys remember Michelle Bachmann? That was a close one. Can't let that happen again. Do you think Obama's friends still text him? Like, yo, Barry, what's going on, man? You want to hang out sometime? And he texts back, I'm busy. He's like, man, you never hang out anymore. When are you going to be free? And he's like, 2016. One time I met a guy who said he worked at an exotic pet store, but it turns out he was a really corrupt zookeeper. It's just, I keep hearing it, like it crackles. When you get, those aren't pies, by the way. That's all Barbasol, like, you know when you get your hair cut? Yeah, it's still in there. I'm gonna lose. How you doing, Caleb? You know that you're just like a figurehead. You don't have any constitutional power in this country. I mean, we can pretend a little. Okay. You're such a good sport. Everybody gets their 15 minutes of fame, except for the people who star in the musical Fame. They get way more. I like kickball because as soon as you hear the name, you already know half the rules. You know, it'd be a great way to make golf more exciting. Stop playing it. I'm just joking. Golf is a great sport for people like me, and by that I mean white people, because the combination of polos, khakis, and complete silence really puts us at ease. So how did babies survive before we domesticated them? They have little to no natural defenses. Another thing, people use baby as a pet name, which is weird. Because who's the first person to come up with that? Like, hey, how's it going, baby? Why'd you just call me? Oh, you know, baby, because I'm attracted to you. Just like a baby. I had a drug addiction, but then I went to rehab, and then I got addicted to rehab, and then they don't know what to do with me now. I've actually never done drugs because I signed one of those contracts in 4th grade that said I wouldn't. It turns out those are binding. I tried once, and the dealer looked at me, and he was like, wait, are you Adam Robertson? I was like, yeah. He's like, well, Mrs. DiAgostini said. Go back home. I don't know anything about drugs. Like, if I was gonna go buy marijuana, I would walk up to. Is that funny already? I don't know. I would like walk up to the dealer and be like, 2 weeds, please. Your finest weed, sir. My lips are getting wet and I can taste the barbasol. It's rubbing into my mouth. You'd be surprised. It was definitely not. When the Ghostbusters die, that's going to be a nightmare scenario because they already know all the tricks. Dan Aykroyd's going to be here for a while. One of the things about Mac is I like to drink like a camel. Just as much as I possibly can. Thank you, Caleb. What a good king. I was gonna go camping with some of my friends. We were gonna go hunting, and I went to a sporting goods store because I needed some camouflage, but I couldn't find the camouflage section. I said to the clerk, excuse me, I can't seem to find your camouflage. And he said, that's the idea. One time I saw a completely blind guy walking down the street wearing full camo. It was like he was trying to level the playing field. Little does he know, that's not quite how it works. I went to a convenience store the other day, and I saw this guy just put a six-pack of beer just right in his coat, and he tried to walk out, and the lady said, excuse me, you know you have to pay for that. And he said, yeah, that's why I'm being so sneaky. And he left. So he got the better end of that stick. I live in Portland for most of the year. And the thing about Portland is everybody wants to talk to you, whether they know you or not. Don't hate your friends.
I'm so sorry.
Well, I mean, I don't know that much about your relationship, but if you guys, that's how you show affection, that's fine. But I'm just concerned. Okay, thank goodness. So in Portland, everybody will talk to you. And I was waiting for the Max one day, and this lady walked up to me. She gets right in my face, and she says, "Screw Hitler!" Which I agree with. But first of all, she's like 70 years late to that bandwagon. And second, I agree with her message, but not her evangelism. So I had to be like, yeah, I need to go. Every day. Have a Hitler-free day. Which is not that hard to do in these days. When I was little, they had journal questions every day in 3rd grade, and you'd write your responses every day. And one of the questions was, if you could go back in time and meet any character from history, who would you meet? And I wrote, I would meet the guy who killed Hitler. Which, if you recall, was not who you'd think it would be. Out of everybody, out of all his friends, that person would be the last you'd expect. If you haven't laughed yet, Hitler killed Hitler. Thank you. I've been looking at apartments lately, and this one flyer for an apartment complex says, 10 great reasons to live in our apartment complex. And listed 9 reasons, great reasons, and then the 10th reason was, need we say more? Yeah. Because you promised 10, and you could only deliver 9. And if this is the way you make your living, and you can only come up with 9 reasons for me to spend my money on your apartment complex, I may take my business elsewhere to places with 10 reasons. I took a computer science class. I wouldn't recommend it. And the textbook was, I have to read it off the sheet because there's no way I'm memorizing the name of this textbook. It is Modern Computing Algorithm Design and Theory for C++. And it was written by a man named D.S. Malik, and on the first page, there was an inscription that said, for Shelley, which is a horrible thing to do to a person. Because every year, there are thousands of college students who open up that book and see that it's for Shelley and think, man, if Shelley had just never been born, I wouldn't be reading this book right now. Bad move, DS. Bad move. Last night, my friends threw a surprise birthday party for me, which is weird because my birthday's in February, so it was extra surprising. I never understood why in buildings they have fire extinguishers behind glass. And it says, in case of fire, break glass. Because if there's a fire, you have to break the glass, and now there's a fire and broken glass on the floor. You just compounded danger. So why just have no glass? Why not just do that? Is it because you only want people who are strong enough to fight your fires? Do you not want the weak and unable to be fighting these fires? Because if you did, you could just say, in case of fire, break bricks. Like if I had a building, mine would say, in case of fire, break personal record for most fires fought. In case of fire, break promise to stop fighting fires. Thank you guys so much. You have been wonderful.